Brought to you by ExpressCare Health and Skin Center. Get in, get out, get better.
Welcome back to Healthy Living. How many of you have heard about GUAM sores? Are they common? Joining me now is ExpressCare's Dr. Jitka Lom. All right, Doc, I've heard about GUAM sores. I mean, as a child, I've gotten lectured on, oh, you better, wear stockings because you don't want to get GUAM sores. So tell us, what exactly is a GUAM sore?
A GUAM sore is a local term that people use for infections that they typically get on their legs, but other places too, which in medical word we call impetigo. It's a staph infection, meaning it's a bacterial infection of the skin. But because we're in a hot tropical island, these infections can kind of fester and go on for a while. So the sore doesn't just kind of look like a little yellow or little red scab. It kind of gets thick and juicy and bumpy.
Now, what is the difference between staph infection and impetigo? Like, is there a difference?
Yeah, so we pronounce it impetigo.
Impetigo.
No problem. But that's a bacterial infection of the skin, which can be caused by many different bacteria. Typically, they're strep or a staph. Those are the two most common ones. But we oftentimes swab them, and I encourage you, if you do have an infection, get your doctor to swab it so you can find out what actually is growing, because we find all kinds of amazing bacteria. Sometimes we have 4 or 5 growing in one sore. And then the choice of antibiotics, of course, depends on what's growing. But the most common kind of infection is staph, because it's all over our skin, just looking for a way to get in.
Okay. Now, how does it spread? Because when you have GUAM, you don't see a person, hey, he has a GUAM sore. It's usually that person has GUAM sores, so it's usually a lot of sores.
Correct.
So how does it spread?
It spreads in a couple ways. First of all, any infection like that tends to be a bit itchy, and the person will scratch, and by scratching they create more little tiny holes and the bacteria can get in. That's one way. Another way is that they're actually colonized. Their whole body is actually infected with the germs, and particularly their nose, because especially kids will scratch and then pick their nose. Now there's bacteria in their nose, and the next time they go like this, we have germs going everywhere. Another way is in bedding, because when people, if they're not washing before bed, they'll go to bed and then their germs will be on their sheets and then they spread it all around. And hugging and kissing, because that's very common in families, of course, and the germs can spread from one person to the next.
All right. Now, how can you prevent it? Like, if you have that one sore that's starting to be a GUAM sore, like, how can you stop it?
So the first thing I want to tell you is don't use hydrogen peroxide, okay? Because a lot of people do that. So if you have a sore, know that, okay, wait, this is an infection. Infections we treat with good hygiene. That means warm water and soap, okay? And I say warm water because many people on GUAM don't have that, and so please do heat up a little bit of warm water and wash with Dial or just a good soap. Give it a good scrub and rinse it off. And what you're doing is you're removing the bacterial load. You're removing the bacteria from you. You don't have to necessarily put alcohol or sanitizer or anything like that. Just rinse off those germs. Then pat dry and cover it with a Band-Aid. And if you're not diabetic and you're pretty healthy, your body will do the rest. Now, you can put a little bit of antibiotic ointment, such as Neosporin or bacitracin, something over the counter, an antibiotic ointment on there just to help it, but it's not a substitute for washing. So you do need to wash your sores. That's the best way to prevent them from spreading.
All right. Now, you mentioned not to pour hydrogen peroxide on it, and that's like everybody does that. Like, oh, get the hydrogen peroxide, let's pour it, and then you see it all bubble up.
Right.
Now, they're like, oh yeah, that means it's working, killing all the bacteria. Now,
it is working. Okay, it's killing the bacteria. It's also killing the healing tissue. So what happens is that hydrogen peroxide is a strong acid. It's a great way to destroy and kill bacteria, but it's so harsh that it's destroying your own skin too. So as your skin's trying to heal, it can't. You keep killing it. So don't use that. Maybe one time only.
Okay.
And
now,
it hurts too.
Another thing that I've heard, right?
Yeah.
Well, they say no, alcohol hurts. Like, oh, don't worry, I'm not using alcohol, I'm using hydrogen peroxide.
Right, they both hurt. Try not to use that. Just soap and water.
Yeah. Now, another thing that's a common practice is the idea that, once you clean it out, let it breathe. Don't cover it, just let it breathe. Why is that wrong?
During the day, let's say you have an open sore on your leg, you're walking around picking up all kinds of other bacteria and other people's germs and so on. So during the day, you should keep it covered, either with a sock or your clothing, or wrapping it with a little gauze, or just a simple Band-Aid. At night, you come home, you wash with warm water and soap. Now you can let it breathe, okay? Because when you let air get to it, that's a good thing. You get a little bit more oxygen, it's not going to be as moist, it'll dry up, and that's good at nighttime.
All right.